Yes. So what we have to revise is invitations and replies. So invitations and replies, you can also see that invitations and replies, it is something in 12th standard, it is a compulsory question we have to go through and get an idea. Invitations and replies. We have, notice writing, how we have to prepare notice writing, and we can go for poster making. And then of course, advertisements. Advertisements, we have two things, classified advertisements and of course general ad display or commercial advertisements. So everything short composition we came across, and we knew the knowledge, we know the knowledge about all the writing skills. So now invitations and replies, talking about invitations and replies, we are inviting people, we are inviting a person personally, we are inviting a person personally, or somewhat, we have formal invitations, informal invitation, formal reply and informal reply. uh, all those things are there in that. Just wait a minute. Yes. Now we can continue. So invitation and replace. General idea we will get. Invitation is a kind of personal notice sent individually to people, for example, relatives, friends, clients, colleagues, and so on. Inviting them to attend some particular function or an occasion such as engagement or marriage or birth or public functions, right? It is an essential part of social etiquette. We are seeing social etiquette in the sense it is a manner, it is a tendency. We are also inviting and of course replying what we are invited like. So it can be in the form of an invitation card, which is a formal way of inviting people. It can be also in the form of a note or a letter, which is a formal or informal way of inviting people. So general idea about invitations and replies. Types of invitations. While talking about invitations and replies, first one is invitation. Types of invitations, formal invitations and informal invitations. We know very well what is the meaning formal, what is the meaning informal, right? What is the meaning informal or what is the meaning formal? When we discuss about formal invitations, we have two varieties. That means, two divisions. It can be divided into two. Formal invitations. Formal invitations card printed. Another one is formal letter writing invitation. Formal letter invitation. So first one, formal invitation card printed format. So in a formal invitation card, and starts with the designation of the organizer, followed by the name and address of the host. Details about the date, time, and venue of the function we need to mention. So you came across many things related to annual sports day or annual day of a school function, any celebration
Sir,
period, any. Yes, sir.
sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Sir, can you see the display, sir?
No, sir.
You didn't see that?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Are you all seeing or not?
Visible, sir.
Some problem, my dear. Rosen, you can check it. Otherwise, you can open Rosen. Already I have discussed, shared with you now.
Sir, what, sir?
Already I shared with you. You can also open the PDF document.
Okay, sir.
Hmm. So remaining, are you all seeing, sir? Are you all seeing the display?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So you can see now in a formal invitation card and starts before when we are starting the formal invitation card printed format with the designation on starts with the designation of the organizer, followed by name and address of the host. Details about the day, time, and venue of the function we need to mention. The name of the chief organizer is on the bottom of left hand corner of the card. This is a very formal principle we have to follow when we are writing, right? When we are preparing. So guidelines for the formal card. So formal invitation cards, when we are preparing, we have to go through or we have to follow all these instructions, whatever mentioned in the guidelines for the format card. So here formal invitation cards don't include the name of the addressees or receiver. So we are not using that. You understand that it is common for all. We are just giving the card and inviting people. We are not mentioning the name. We are even in the cover page also, in the envelope also, in the cover page also, we are not nowadays writing the name of the address. That means addressees are receiver's name and address and everything we are not It is something in a modern era, so that we are all avoiding all those things. Simply we are just sending that. So it is a common one. So formal invitation printed card don't in cards don't include the name of the addressees or receiver. It is always written in third person manner. So we have to go for he, she, it, or the. That means third persons note we have to follow. So all the writing skills very important. We have to 90% we have to follow third person's note. Instead of going for first person and second person, we can go for third person notes whenever you are talking about formal things. So here formal invitation printed comma card, so that we are following third person's note. It is always written in third person manner, the occasion, name of the invitee, name of the host, date, time, venue, and so on, or written in proper sequence. By seeing the card, we will not ask the question, we will not get confusion. So everything should be mentioned in the card. By seeing the card, by going through the card, we will identify that there is a function, there is a celebration, there is a carnival, there is a festival. There we have to go and join with them, join hands with them, and we can also celebrate. So we should not give puzzles. We should not keep puzzles in the card. We should not give that. We have to give them clarification while going through the card. So some more details like name, designations, address, and so on of the organizers, then sponsors or hosts should be included very properly. We have to write all those things in a systematic way. And it is like in a logical way. In a systematic way, we have to arrange. Then if a vip is invited, you can also see that if a vip is invited, in the sense we can go for a special guest, we can go for a chief guest, or who's going to preside over the function. தலைமை தாங்கி நடத்துறது. So if a vip is invited, then the name of that particular vip should appear prominently. That means we have to give importance to that particular person, that personality who is going to take over all the things, who is going to preside over the function, who is going to deliver motivational speech, who is going to guide, who is going to contact, and everything we have to mention very properly. So abbreviations for the guest names, titles, day and day won't be used in a formal printed invitations card. So that means, to the question, to the point, towards the question, we have to write the proper answers. And then, of course, a route map for reaching the venue may be given at back of the card if required. If it is needed, we need to mention, otherwise, no issues. You can also write. So you can also see an example. We have an example. You can also go through. That means Saint Joseph, a convent school, Nainital is celebrating its annual day and wants to invite the parents, and wants third person singular, so that we are using one plus s. So wants to invite the parents and other guests to the occasion. Design an invitation card for the same within 50 words. Invent the necessary details and everything you can. Likewise, a question you will also receive. You have to identify that. So design a formal invitation card. So we cannot expect all those things in the question paper. Design an invitation. That is also enough for us to understand that, because it is something in an annual day celebration. So annual day celebration means we need to prepare a card printed format, right? So design a formal invitation card. So instead of that, we design an invitation. We have to identify and we have to prepare that. So design an invitation card. We need to identify whether it is a formal design printed card, or whether it is letter formal invitation, whether it is something note format, that means an informal invitation, or whether it is acceptance or refusal, or formal refusal or informal refusal, formal acceptance or informal acceptance. Everything we should identify while going through the question, when we have the right entire knowledge about invitations and replies, right? Next, you can see the example answer. You can see the answer. Yes, you have to do a framework. You have to do a framework, or you can go for a box. You should prepare. That means it is which is convenient. You can also prepare, and then you can centralize everything. You can design. That's why we are clearly mentioning that design an invitation card. A design. That means you can just arrange, so that we are using some font size, some of something modifying the things, altering the things, and highlighting the things. So the management, the principal, staff, and students of the particular school or institutions or that particular company. You can also mention that the management, of course, they are also joining hands with us. They are the owner. They are the resource. The management, comma, the principal, the who is a leading person, who is taking care of all those things. Then staff, those who are involving in all those activities. So now you can see that. Now we can see that the management, the principal, staff, and the students of St. Joseph Convent Public School, Nainital, request the pleasure of your company on the annual day celebration on the particular date and day and year we need to mention, and particular timing. And of course, the venue also we need to mention, in the school auditorium, in the school playground, or we can go for a hall, anything, community hall, whatever it is, we need to mention. So all those things, date, year, and venue, timing, everything we need to mention very clearly in third person's note. Then the particular, the very special guest, we are just mentioning, highlighting the things. Highlighting the things means who will be the chief guest. That's why Sri Amar Singh, Honorable Minister of Cultural Affairs, has very kindly consented to be the chief guest. That means, we are completing all those things. Nobody will ask questions. Yes, of course, the management is inviting us, the principal is inviting us all together. The school is totally inviting us for their annual day celebration, the particular day, particular date, particular year, particular timing, particular venue, and of course, the chief guest who is going to preside over the function. Everything they have mentioned very clearly in the annual invitation card. So we have to go and join hands with them and celebrate the function like. And then RSVP in the left bottom, left intent. RSVP means please reply, are anticipating your presence, like we are just writing that. It is a French word, French abbreviation. You can also see that RSVP, you can write. Next, then the host, who's, mentioning, who's just preparing the card, the name of uh, the person, or we can go for the secretary, or we can go for the president, we can go for the principal, or we can go for any students, even the head boy or head girl, likewise, based on the program we can also divide that, and we have to write the senders, write the sender's name. That means, Mr. Peter, principal, and phone number also, if you need, you can write. This is an additional information. If you want, you can also mention. That means, this card admits only two, and you are requested to be seated by 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. annual day will be started. So before 1 hour, it's like 1 hour earlier, we need to arrange very properly and take our seats. We have to sit, wait for the chief guest presence. That means, initiation. Likewise, we are mentioning in the card. So this is known as card format, formal card printed invitation. You please understand the things. Right. Next one, marriage invitation card. So marriage invitation card, you should see that. Wait, next example, you can see that. Yes, sir. You can also see. And of course, we are in the marriage invitation card. That also should be very formal. We are also mentioning, grandparents and of course parents. Then that particular bride and bridegroom. We are mentioning very clearly. We came across many invitations card, right? Likewise, you can also see that Mr. and Mrs. Hawk wants to invite all their friends and acquaintances to the wedding of their grandson Deepak. Design a card for the wedding. They didn't mention a formal invitation card, formal printed card. Simply they are giving design a card. Or design an invitation. Design an invitation for the wedding. Invent the necessary details within 50 words. Like so, based on that, we have to prepare. We need to identify that is marriage, wedding, anniversary, wedding card. We need to prepare. We have to go for the formal printed invitation card. Then you can mention the grandparents' name. Then you can go for the parents' name. Then you can go for the bride and bridegrooms. And of course, you have to mention the date, and then day and year and timing and venue and everything. We have to mention very clearly. With RSVP, we need to mention in the bottom of the card, right? So that Mr. and Mrs. or Mrs. and Mr. J.K. Hawk, that means, grandparents, cordially invite you to the auspicious occasion of the marriage of their grandson. So third person's note. Already I told you, whenever we are talking about formal, we have to remember third person's note. Whenever we are choosing informal, we have to go for first person and second person's note. That is very clear. Please, you can register in your mind. Whenever you are choosing formal invitation, you can go for third person's note. Sir, what about letter writing, sir? Letter formal invitation is exceptional. That means in letter formal invitations, you can write as it is. No, any other things. As it is, you can write. So here, of their grandson, Deepak. That means you have to, in bracket, close to bracket, you have to mention son of Mrs. or Mr. and Mrs. P.N. Hawk with Reena. Reena and daughter of Mrs. and Mr. PM Dodd on 17th September 2020, like, or anything you can mention, or 20 double X, you can use that at 7:30 p.m. timing, and then at that means particular venue you have to mention. Then the left bottom you have to mention RSVP, that a parent. You can go for the parents of that particular bride or bridegroom. Based on that, you can mention. If you want, you can also write with the best compliments from all friends and relatives. It is not necessary, but anyhow, if you want anything, you can also. It's like an application. It's like condition. You can also mention that. No issues. So whenever we are writing card printed format, in the sense we have to follow third person's note. You understand the third person's note? He, she, it, and they. Third person's note, we have to follow that. That means they means there will come. Their marriage, their grandson Deepak, right? Two things we have to concentrate when we are talking about formal invitation card printed. Then formal letter invitation. Formal letter invitation. Now you can see that formal letter invitation. Yes, sir. For inviting people for programs, celebrations, competitions, workshops, conferences, and so on. So all those things, right? Formal invitation letter format for inviting people for programs or celebrations or competitions or workshops, conferences, and so on. And for inviting a dignitary as a chief guest to preside over a function. That means, we are asking them to conduct. That means they are the best one, they are the first one, then they are the special one in the program. They have to give something. He or she has to give, deliver a speech or something, do a demonstration or whatever it is. So for inviting a dignitary as a chief guest to preside over, that means, conducting, that means taking in charge for that particular program. Inviting a team of students and teachers for competitions or workshop or and so on. You can also go for that. Anything competitions we can go for in a cluster competition, CBSE competitions, or we can go for some of the inter-school competitions, inter-college competitions, or intramural competitions, and of course house activities or anything. So inviting a team of students and the teachers for competitions and workshops. Then we can go for inviting a person of repute. That means, it's like renowned person, renowned or scholarly persons for a competition. That means judge, as a judge for a competition in the school. We can go for even a dancer, or we can go for a singer, or we can go for anything, art and craft teachers or somewhat, anything can be. So inviting a person of repute, renowned as judge for a competition in the school or for inter-school competitions. So card printed format, we can remember that it is general one, that should be written in third person's note, and we have to invite all. It is a common card. It is a common for all. It's a common card for all. But letter invitation means particularly to a school principal or to a school teacher or school students. Certain things related to maybe volleyball or somewhat basketball, or you can go for football or whatever it is. It is something selection, selected one particularized things. So for inviting some programs, for programs or celebration or competitions or workshop or conference, so that. But what is the format for letter invitation? Same, whatever we followed in our letter format. Same formal letter format, sender's address without name, date with the format, and receiver's address. But here I'm not mentioning, like, you have to use definite article. Normal letter format, we are just following. For an example, editor letter or somewhat, let us go school or college authorities, we need to mention definite article, the principal, the manager, the secretary, the president, like with the principal, likewise we need to mention, we need to use definite article. But when we are discussing invitation formal letter format, I'm not mentioning, in the receiver's address, only the receiver's name, and then particular place we need to mention, address or place we need to mention. So sender's address without name, date with the format, then receiver's address, receiver's name and address, then subject. Subject is very important. While reading the subject, we will identify that either it is a letter or it is an invitation. That means, in the subject we are mentioning that invitation for the particular program. What is a post? What is the honor we are giving them? So while reading subject, you understand that even in letter writing also we are using a subject. You are using the subject. In the subject, while reading the subject, it is like make a long story short. While reading the subject, we will identify that what is the latest concept. Entire concept we can easily identify when we are reading the subject. So that's why in subject you have to specify what purpose you are just inviting. Invitation for the post, that means invitation for the particular program we have to mention. Then salutation we have to follow as it is respected. We can go further because to a dignitary or to a personality or reputed or renowned person, we are just in a group of teachers, group of students, group of principals, group of we are sending, so that we have to give respect. Respected sir or ma'am, dear sir or ma'am, anything we can write. Even dear sir or ma'am also we can write, no issues. Then we can start the body of the invitation. That means content of the invitation. After completing that, we can complete the invitation by giving complimentary clause. Same as letter. So sender's address without name, date with the format, receiver's address, subject, salutation, content, and complimentary clause. Right, sir. Now you can see an example. Sunrise Global School, then Hari Parvat near Delhi Gate, Agra, that particular number and date with the format. Here also we mentioned. Then receiver's address, Miss or Mrs. We can go for Mr. Nalini or Mr. Anything you can go for that. That based on the name you can also mention. So receiver's address very properly we need to mention. Just wait a minute. Some of them are in the waiting room. I think I have to check. Joining Surya. Surya. Okay. Right, sir. And date with the format, then receiver's address and receiver's address, please. The subject. Invitation for the school one act play competition. You can also hyphen mention as a judge or as a chief guest, as a special guest, or anything you can mention, no issues. Respected madam, because we are writing to Miss Nalini. So we are writing, it is deliberately we know the receiver's name and address so that we are mentioning that, so that we are mentioning respected madam. You can also go for respected madam or / no issues. Wait a minute. Yes. Right, sir. Then, respected madam, we shall be obliged if you could spare some time. Spare time from your busy schedule to be the chief guest at our school's one act play competition to be on 20th August 2020 in the school auditorium or anything 20 and then XX you can use that in the school auditorium 2 p.m. onwards. So very importantly you have to mention that kindly confirm. Kindly confirm your acceptance by 12 before 2 days. Something we are just asking that before 2 days we are asking. I think some problem came arise. Just a minute. Yes. So kindly confirm your acceptance by 12th August and oblige. You are respectfully. Faithfully also you can use that, no issues. You are respectful, yours respectfully, the particular name of the sender. This is the way we have to follow. So invitation, card format, formal, and then letter format, formal. The next one is informal. So informal invitation, whenever we are talking about informal invitation, we have to remember informal letter. That means personal letters. Informal letters are personal letters. You have to remember that. That informal invitations are nothing but personal letters written to friends, acquaintances, and relatives, and so on. The style or tone of the informal invitations is relaxed and informal. Personal feelings and emotions find in expression in personal invitations. Then the informal invitation is written in the first person using I and we, then I, we, and you. We should not use third person's note. So the informal invitation is written in the first person using I, we, and you. The use of third person he, she, and they are avoided. So third person in the sense we have to remember only formal invitations. First and second person means we can remember only informal invitations and replies. Then the subject and receiver's addresses are not written in the informal invitations. So what is the format? Informal format, informal letter format that is known as note format in our invitations and replies. Note format means sender's address, without name, date with the format, then receiver's address we are not writing, and of course subject also we are not writing. So sender's address without name, date with the format, then salutation. So salutation start with the dear. Salutation start with dear. That means dear and first name. For an example, dear John. You can also go for dear Manishwar, yeah, dear Gautam Vengat. So Gautam. Or you can also go for the full name, no issues. Hey John Pradeep, what is a mistake in that? So you can also go. So the subject and receiver's addresses are not written. The letter is given with the salutation dear followed by the first name. So when you are writing informal invitation, formal we have completed. That means formal printed card and then formal letter format. Now informal. Informal means note format. Note format. What is a note format? We can also see that you are Manoj or Manjula. Write a letter of invitations to all your friends for the party you are giving to celebrate your selection in BTech in DTU at the particular university. Invert necessary details within 50 words. So we have to write the answers. That means first one, sender's address without name, date with the format, then salutation, dear Mehul. That means the receiver's name, first name Mehul, and then guess what? That is not a proper question. That is not a formal question, informal question. That's why we used guess what and question mark. So guess what? My family has decided to celebrate my selection to the BTech course after completing 12th standard, after completing UG course. We are just applying for PG or PhD or MPhil. So when we got an opportunity, we can also celebrate. We can also celebrate, or we can also do some, create some, conduct something. So here, that's why my family has decided to celebrate my selection to the BTech course at DTU with a party. So please join in the celebration at my residence on the 14th February at 7:30 p.m. Yours affectionately, Manoj or Manchula. So you can write the writer's name. So for informal invitations, we don't have a printed card format. But if they are asking in the sense, we can also manage the situation. This could also do in the form of a card. If the question says design an informal invitation card, informal invitation, you have to underline the word informal invitation. Then you can also go for you can just to prepare a framework. You can also prepare a box. Then you can write, come, let us celebrate. Then you can go for some other activities like my selection to the beta course with the party, that particular date, and then day and year and particular venue. Then timing also, particular timing also. You can mention the name, sender's name. That's all. Simple. You will get 3 marks. Right, sir? So we have completed, we have discussed invitations and replies, especially invitations, formal invitations, card and letter format, and of course, informal invitations, note format. Now we have to see the respond to invitation or replies. Respond to invitations or replies. Anyhow, sir, formal invitation, we have to we have to prepare and reply in formal. Informal invitations, we have to prepare and reply in informal way. That's all. For all the replies, we have to use note format. But we have used what we have used in informal invitations. What we have used in informal invitation? In informal invitations, we have used note format. That same note format can be used for all the replies. Formal replies or informal replies. Formal reply, acceptance or refusal. Informal replies, acceptance or refusal. Right? You can also see that reply to an invitation, respond to invitation, reply to an invitation is written to the host. In response to the invitation, it also informs the host about attending or not attending the occasion. The good reply is always pleasant. So it is our duty, it is our tendency, it is our it is our character. We need to respond. We need to respond. Of course, we have to respect. Someone has invited us, in the sense we need to respect, and we need to respond to the invitation. That is a tendency. That is a social ethic, right? Then formal replies. When we talk about formal replies, in formal replies involve a certain standard. It is usually very short and to the point. In formal reply, first of all, invitation is acknowledged. We need to acknowledge. That means, yes, of course, I'm very happy with that. Right? Likewise, in a formal reply means we can go for third person's acknowledgement. In informal reply means first person and second person. First person acknowledgement we have to give them. That's why first of all, invitation is acknowledged, for the which thanks are written in third person. Acceptance is communicated. That means I am accepting that. That means he is accepting and he will join with you. Like, regret, that means refusal. Regret is shown if the person is unable to attend the occasion. That means, he has to regret, in the sense he has to show his regret and talking about the refusal. So in case of not attending, a specific reason is to be given. That is a common sense. This is what already told you, that it is like, social etiquette, or we can go for etiquette, manners. Someone is inviting, in the sense we have to say yes or no. If we are saying yes, no problem. When we are saying no, in the sense we need to give a proper reason, because what was no reason behind that. Then only that particular person who is inviting you will be convinced, right? Will be happy. And then talking about formal replies, informal replies, of course, in informal replies also. In informal replies also, simple language is used and invitation is acknowledged in first or second person. Acceptance is communicated or refusal is regretted with a specific reason. So we have to say, we have to give a reason when we are unable to attend the function or celebration or invitation. Right, sir? So formal replies. Formal replies can be divided into two: formal acceptance, formal refusal. Informal reply also can be divided into two: informal acceptance, informal refusal. When we talk about formal acceptance, as it is, we have to follow sender's address without name, date with the format, then salutation, then you can go for the content, body of the invitation, then reply. Here we can go for third person's note. For an example, Mrs. and Mr. or Mr. and Mr. Raina, Mr. and Mrs. Raina thank two of them. So that thank Mrs. or Mr. and Mrs. C.K. Das for their kind invitation, அவர்களுடைய invitation, their invitation to their wedding anniversary on the 25th of December, the particular year, at the particular venue at the Taj Palace Hotel at particular timing, 8 p.m. They are delighted. They are delighted. Here we have to mention Mrs. and Mr. Raina. They are delighted to accept the invitation and promise to be on time, in the sense. Third person's note. Third person's note, we need to prepare. So sender's address without name, date with the format, then body of the reply. Simply they are writing in third person's note. Mr. and Mrs. Raina thank Mr. and Mrs. T.K. Das for their kind invitation to their wedding anniversary, or anything. Reception, we can go for that. They are delighted. That means sender's name. They are delighted. They are delighted with Mr. and Mrs. Raina. They are delighted to accept the invitation and promise to be on time. So yours faithfully, the particular name of the sender. Formal refuse as it is. Formal refusal as it is, whatever we mentioned. But you can see the last few lines. Taj Palace Hotel at 8 p.m. but regret their inability to accept the same due to a prior engagement. So